Chapter 9. Sam pushed her mashed potatoes around her plate. The cafeteria lady had plopped white gravy on them before she had had a chance to ask for natural gravy. She wasn't very hungry anyway. She wondered if the Ramsaroops were having a fire drill. She still felt the heat radiating from Brandon Holiday. She remembered the warmth of the light bubble she experienced when reading 1 Samuel. There really was no other way to describe what had happened to her. She had been enclosed in her own sphere of light, and someone or something had called her name. Samantha. Sam jumped and her knee hit the leg of the table, shaking everyone's plates. Samantha, dear, eat your lunch before it gets cold. Her mother gave her that "is everything okay" worried look. This was the new Flynn family Sunday ritual. Get up, go to church, eat lunch at Luby's cafeteria, go home and take it easy until it was time to go back to church. Things used to be different. Instead of Luby's, her Sunday lunches once were filled with the smells of Nonna Tate's kitchen. Every Sunday that Sam could remember, until last summer, she had eaten Sunday lunch at her grandmother's table. Sam never knew her grandfather. He died when her mother was just 14. Sam shot a glance at her own father and wondered what life would be like if he were gone. The thought gave her such a jolt and sense of pity for her mom. She stuck the idea to the back of her brain in the denial zone. No use going there if she didn't have to. After Nana Tate's death, Hazel Flynn tried to fill the gap, but she was just too selfish. Sam guessed that assessment of her living grandparent was a little harsh, but she was only repeating what her Aunt Peg said at some point during every family get-together. Her dad had grown up on a dairy farm. His older brother Matt and his older sister Peggy left the farm the first chance they got. But Sam's dad stayed and helped his father run the business. So many colleges recruited him to play baseball, but he went to the University of Texas at Arlington so he could live at home and keep the business going. But in the middle of his junior year, some new machine made locating pockets of natural gas really easy, and one huge vein ran right underneath the Flynn family milking barn. Needless to say, the cows got sold, the equipment went to auction, and the Flynns bought a house in Phoenix where they spent more and more time these days. Aunt Peg and her obnoxious daughters lived in Houston, but felt it necessary to come to Mansfield several times a year to make sure Sam's grandparents didn't spend all their money. They'll blow through every penny and we won't ever see a dime, was one of Peg's favorite mantras. Well, they've earned the right to relax a little, don't you think, Peg? Was always her dad's reply. Basically, Aunt Peg learned her overbearing, unendurable behavior from her mother. Sam's father learned his loving, long-suffering behavior from his father. But they all really loved one another. Family dynamics are really strange. Most holidays, Sam just watched from the sidelines, and her mother jumped in every now and then to referee. Uncle Matt, he didn't even bother to show up. He just stayed put in Seattle and called. Sam did love her grandparents and was grateful she still had both of them living, but nothing would ever replace the hole that was left when Nana Tate died. Sam pictured her face, smiling and cooing in a flood of rainbow color. As she recalled the image and saw her reach for her, she didn't fear. She didn't feel that fear fill her this time. And she was mad at herself for not crawling in the crib with JT and letting that rainbow fall on her too. Sam. Sam. Sam! Sam looked up to see who was talking to her. Sam, where in the world are you today? That worried face. Sam, see if you can get some of this mac and cheese out of JT's hair while I go and go pay. Will you now? Her dad smiled at her, but he had the worried face. Sam tried to pull her attention back to her family and laughed when she took a good look at JT. One noodle had attached itself to the end of JT's lone strand of hair, and he now stood at attention in a cheesy mohawk. Come on, little guy. Let's go get some of that out of your hair. He kicked his little legs so hard she could barely get him out of the high chair. In the restroom, Sam wet some paper towels and started the futile wiping attempt. JT batted her hands away from his head and pitched and rolled from side to side. Sam caught a glimpse in the mirror of a woman standing behind her, laughing. She knew she should move aside from the sink and let the lady wash her hands. But in the time it took her to make this decision, the woman left the bathroom. When Sam gave up her attempt at grooming, she looked for the lady in the restaurant so she could apologize, but she didn't see her anywhere. Mom, did you see the blonde lady in the really pretty white dress? She looked familiar. No, honey, why? Oh, nothing. I just didn't get out of the way in the bathroom for her to wash her hands before she left, and I only wanted to apologize. Nobody came out of the bathroom but you, Lily interjected. What do you mean? Sam clenched her fists. I was watching for you and JT to come out of the bathroom. I saw you go in, I watched. I saw you come out. No one else came in or out, Lily replied in full adolescent tone. Sam made a mental note that she sounded just like Aunt Peg. Whatever, Sam replied in her best Aunt Peg tone. Sam thought about the mystery lady on the way home and realized she was dressed strangely. Her dress was not just white, but bleached white, like a seashell. And it was truly beautiful, long and flowing, but more of a design that someone might wear to a toga party and not Luby's cafeteria. By the time Sam's family pulled into the driveway, she just chalked her mystery woman up to one more bizarre experience to her ever-increasingly bizarre life. Sunday night was a total bust. No Brandon, no Natalie, just Aubrey, who was only mildly friendly because Tiffany decided to show up. By the time Sam finally tried to go to sleep, she didn't want to think about her day anymore. She read for a little while and got a little sleepy. Maybe she should go try to dig out Cathedral Mouse. She could pray. No matter how much trouble she was having falling asleep, praying usually did the trick. She was a terrible prayer. Her focus lasted about 10 seconds. So she just usually went down a list of people she wanted God to watch out for, keep them safe. Natalie Ramsaroop topped that list. Was she asleep? Was she dreaming? Or were those sirens screaming through the night air?